Hello and a very warm welcome. In today's video we've got a subscriber who commented on one of my videos and said, can you talk about the bias, the stewards, the inconsistencies, the Dutch as a fan base, and Jos himself are fuming with what they think is biased stewarding towards and against Max. So the Dutch are not happy with Johnny Herbert and Tim Meyer, who is the son of late co-founder of McLaren, Teddy. So yeah, they think Johnny Herbert and Tim Meyer are very biased. Jos is not happy at all. He's called for an investigation, and it's not the first time the stewards have been criticised. Even Toto Wolff criticised them in Austin. I'm going to give my thoughts on the situation. Jos has asked for an investigation into the penalties Max received at Mexico. I don't think he's got one case with that, to be honest. Max deserved every penalty he got at Mexico, is my honest view. Max was out of order. For me, he's going to win the title. He doesn't need to drive like that. It was ridiculous. But yeah, if you go back further in the year, he gets a penalty, like he had to do that stupid day of community service for swearing in a press conference. Yeah, you can see why people think there is a bias towards Max. My honest opinion, Lando Norris, Max going for the title. That is an Englishman via Dutchman. There should be no Dutch or English stewards. I mean, it's that simple. Because they're going to have a bias towards one legion. So yeah, the Dutch claim bias stewarding. Herbert addresses this by saying it's nonsense, and the stewards are from a worldwide background. Also, there was a Belgian steward, and obviously Max has links to Belgium. My honest thoughts on the stewards are inconsistent and they are corrupt. They have a difficult job. There's always going to be one side that is not happy. But yeah, as the Dutch say, how can you have an English steward, Johnny Herbert, who has openly come out and said Abu Dhabi was fixed? How is he allowed to steward on the races? Now, he's won 3 races, Johnny Herbert, in his career. But yeah, he's openly come out and said Abu Dhabi was fixed. This is supposed to be someone who's like not biased, like impartial. He's supposed to like just judge it. You know, you can't do it. He's English. He's going to have a bias towards the English, no matter what anyone says. It would be the same if we had a Dutch steward. But Jos has asked for an investigation, and it's not happened because Johnny Herbert is going to be a steward at the Brazil Grand Prix coming up. Tom Meyer, the son of late co-founder Teddy Meyer, again, that's wrong because he's got links to McLaren. You can't judge it like that. If I was a steward, I'd be useless because I'm going to favour McLaren drivers. I wouldn't be a steward because I've got favourites. And I love McLaren, so yeah, it's wrong. Jos claims bias stewarding towards Max. And this is my issue with the stewards. They're inconsistent. Because practice 1, Alex Albon, a clear penalty as he crashes into Ollie Behrman, no action. What is that all about? And you could say they are both British, so they don't get a penalty. It was ridiculous. That is a clear penalty for Alex Albon. Even though it's a practice session, it was a clear penalty for Albon. Kevin Magnussen tried an overtake at Monza. That was the most corrupt penalty I've seen this year. It was absolutely ridiculous. It wasn't warrant of a penalty. And then we saw it in Austin. George Russell, Yuki Tsunoda, they go for an overtake and they get punished for overtaking. And Lando only got 5 seconds for going off the track. Yet Max got 10 seconds at Mexico and 10 seconds. Toto Wolff has also called out the stewards for conflict of interest. Obviously, Toto was not happy with George getting a penalty in Austin. So yeah, they've been called out by Jos, they've been called out by Max, they've been called out by Toto. Yeah, there's always going to be one side that's not happy when it comes to a steward's decision. Whether that's Max, Lando, obviously Lando's side was happy at Mexico, the Dutch side wasn't. But if you revert it back to Austin, the Dutch will have been happy, Lando's fans wouldn't be. So it is a difficult job. But most of these can be avoided by sticking a gravel trap there. Yeah. McLaren influencer in the stewards is wrong. I mean, we got a title fight between an Englishman and a Dutchman. We got a steward in there that's got McLaren links. That is wrong, in my opinion. Yeah. And we should not have a British steward in there when a Brit is fighting for the title. Johnny Herbert's got a lot of experience. He was a 3-time race winner. But yeah, let's jump into this. The FIA have so far ignored the criticism of Johnny Herbert. The steward has come under fire for allegedly being biased against Max. The former F1 British driver was one of the stewards in Singapore and Mexico who punished Max and hefty penalties. Yeah, the swearing in a press conference should not have been a penalty. That's absolutely ridiculous, but not a surprise in this forced PR bullshit world. I mean, look at our TV screens. They're full of diverse inclusion, higher ticker box nonsense. He has been appointed as steward for this weekend's Brazilian Grand Prix. Herbert defended the allegations and explained how there can't be British bias. There is a group of stewards from around the world. Herbert was part of the stewards who gave Max a 10-second penalty in Mexico, whereas a similar set of stewards handed out Lando a 5-second penalty for a similar incident. Jos, among others, called for a change. The FIA should take a good look at the staffing of the stewards, who they put there, and whether there is no appearance of a conflict of interest from former drivers. So, for example, people who have sympathy for certain drivers. Johnny Herbert has sympathy for Lewis Hamilton. There's no if, buts, or maybes there. He is biased towards Lewis Hamilton. He's come out and openly said Abu Dhabi was fixed. And yet he's still a steward. That baffles me. Without directly mentioning his name, Jos was referring, among others, to Herbert, who, like Norris, is from Britain. Jos suggests Herbert can directly influence the outcome of the World Championship with favourite compatriot decisions. Yeah. He's denied all the... there always seems to be an issue about us British stewards being biased, but when we're in that room, we abide by the rules set by the FIA. That is how we have to judge the racing on track. To say it is biased is absolutely ridiculous and not the case. We try as hard as possible to be fair in our judgment in Mexico. The stewards other than me were American, Belgian and Brazilian, all who have the same powers. To say there's bias is ridiculous. In any case, the FIA apparently sees no reason to change, as Herbert is one of the stewards at the Brazilian Grand Prix and former F1 driver Luciano Berti. So yeah, they're inconsistent, the stewards. They do have a good job, but a tough job. But yeah, and the one that really upset me was the Kevin Magnussen one at Italy. I mean, that is corruption all day long. We know the FIA are corrupt. They're run by a corrupt man in MBS. Yeah. Stewards, in my opinion, should be the same stewards every race. But you need to get that. You need to get the base right. There should be 4 stewards, and literally every, we have the same safety car driver. They should be there every week. But yeah, like I say, there's always going to be someone that's unhappy with the steward's decision. It needs to be neutral without favouritism. Again, we shouldn't be talking about the stewards. For me, the stewards get far too much headlines and coverage. They should make a decision, but they love the limelight, don't they? They love the headlines. Like, they always make these decisions after the race, or yeah, they seem to love the headlines. They have been called out. So, comment down below your thoughts. Have your say. And if you do have a video idea for me, comment down below and we'll get it done. Because we've got a couple of weeks off after Brazil. My honest opinion is I think the Dutch do have a case. Why is Johnny Herbert an Englishman in the steward's room? It's wrong. Yeah. Ironically, there's no Dutch man in the stewards though. But there was a Belgian guy who Max does have links to Belgium, I suppose. And so does Lando Norris, actually. So, yeah, this is an interesting one. Comment down below your thoughts. But Johnny Herbert is going to be stewarding again at Brazil. Yeah, comment down below.